Hey everyone, welcome to Photography with Imre, but I'm using someone else's voice as mine is taking a nap. In this episode I'll be discussing image size and resolution, and I've added some details about cropping and resizing for printing, as I've had a viewer request in regard to that. By the way, Photoshop CS4 is the application I'll be using to demonstrate these topics. The reason for this episode is that many of us end up printing our photographs, so it's important to understand not only what these terms mean, but how we can use them and what effect they have on the image. I used to teach these concepts and I know it helped my students. Hopefully it will help you as well. Let's begin by talking about the size of the image. I've opened up a photo taken with my Olympus EP2, which is a 12 megapixel camera. I'll go to Image, then Image Size, so we can see more details about this photo. There are two sizes listed here, the pixel dimensions and document size. The pixel size represents all the dots that make up the photo, whereas the document size represents the printed dimensions of the image. Some people may say they have a camera with a resolution of 12 megapixels or their photos are a resolution of 4032 by 3024 pixels, but that is incorrect. These values are the size or dimensions of the picture. Resolution refers to how densely packed the pixels are, and you can see the field here that relates to this. Based on the pixel size of this photo and taking into account the document size, this image currently has a resolution of 314 pixels or dots per inch. Now let's examine what it means to resample an image. Again, the original pixel size of this photo is 4032 by 3024 pixels. I'm going to leave the resample checkbox selected, and now I'll change the width of the document size to make it greater. Notice that the document height changed to maintain the aspect ratio of the image, as I do have the constraint proportion checkbox selected. And notice too that the pixel size has increased. Put simply, you're telling Photoshop to make the printed size of the image larger while keeping the resolution the same. As you can see, that did not change. But in order for this to happen, Photoshop needs to upscale or resample the image. Therefore, pixels are created if you're making the document size larger, or pixels are removed if making the document size smaller, as you can see here. By the way, when you resample, the location of the new or adjusted pixels is done through a process called interpolation. This drop-down list allows you to use various algorithms, some better than others, and I've left these details for my blog post. Now I'll cancel this and open up the dialog box again to get to my original values. In this case, I'm going to deselect the resample checkbox this time. Notice that the pixel dimensions area is now grayed out. Now I'm going to increase the document width. As you can see, the width and height and resolution fields are locked together, and by increasing the width, the height changed and the resolution decreased. In other words, by turning off resampling, Photoshop is going to keep the original pixel data in the photo and only manipulate the document or printed size of the image. Of course, in this case, if you increase the size of the photo and you want to keep the original data, then the image resolution has to be decreased in order to spread the pixels further apart from each other. Or if we decrease the document size, as you can see me doing here, then Photoshop increases the resolution or pushes the pixels closer together. I'm now going to start discussing how to resize an image for printing. Although you might think the image size dialog box is a good place to start, the problem is that you usually need to crop your photo, as there might be elements you don't want to include. Even if you don't want to crop, the aspect ratio of a certain size of print might not work. For example, let's say I want to make this image into a 12 by 8. That means I have to deselect the constraint proportions box here, change the values, and although my photo is now 12 by 8, it's squashed a little. Not good. I'm going to undo that, and I'll show you how I recommend cropping your image to certain print sizes. The crop tool is located right here. Keep in mind it may be hiding as there are other tools under this button. If you look up here, you'll notice that you can enter a width and height, and even a resolution to crop to. Let's say I wanted that 12 by 8. I enter 12 inches here. Notice you can use various units, but you don't have to if your default is already set to whatever you like. I enter 8 here, but I leave the resolution field blank. In other words, I want Photoshop to keep the original pixel data, no resampling. I then select the area I want to crop, And there you have it. Looking at the image size, I see that a little bit of the image was lost, but my document size is perfect, and the resolution, again based on the pixel and document size, is represented here. Just for kicks, I'll show you what happens if you enter a resolution value. I'll undo my changes, back to the original. I once again enter 12, 8, and let's do 600 for the resolution. I select and apply the cropping, and we'll take a look at the image size. You can clearly see that the image has been upscaled or resampled, as we have more pixels than what the picture had originally. Now you're probably thinking, is resampling good or bad? Ultimately, it depends on exactly what you're going to be doing with your photo. Staying only on the topic of printing your shots, generally speaking, resampling could be undesirable, especially if you're not significantly shrinking or blowing up the image. But resampling could be useful if you're wanting to print a 2x3 foot poster of your shot. Even though pixels have to be created to achieve whatever resolution you set, the image should still look alright. Here's an example with my photo. I enter 36 inches by 24 inches at 300 dots per inch, and then I crop. Indeed, the photo is not as sharp, but this should still print quite well, and a print this size, viewed from about 4 or 5 feet away, will look quite acceptable. Because this isn't a very simple discussion, I've written more about it in my blog, so feel free to check it out. I hope you found this episode interesting and useful. I will be writing a supplemental blog post for this video, so do check out my blog, where you can also find links to my Facebook and Twitter sites, so you can like and follow me. Also, please subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date with my videos, and feel free to send me video requests too. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.